Hello, hello, hello. It's just you and me for this session, and it's gonna be a good one. We're gonna get locked into LinkedIn. I've called the title of this session "Networking, Noise, and Humblebrags." You see where I'm going with this one. What I thought we'd do is have a good old look through LinkedIn and see if we can decipher whether or not it's healthy for us. Is it a help or is it a hindrance? Because I can see variance across the board on this one. And it's interesting, depending on who I talk to, there are strong feelings about what this environment does for us, both in terms of our individual personal well-being, but also for our businesses, our personal brands, and for our networks. So yeah, buckle up. Let's go have a look at LinkedIn. All right, I am sharing my screen with you. Let's do a refresh just to make sure that I'm getting the newest feed. And here we are. This is my view of LinkedIn. This is my account. I've got, loads of things going on. Represents my business interests. I've got quite a few going on, so I spend a fair amount of time, I would imagine, on LinkedIn. And I thoroughly enjoy it when I set down really good boundaries for it. Now, one of the things that I do find about LinkedIn is that people are very opinionated. Lots of people have an idea on what you should and shouldn't be doing on LinkedIn. But I like to think that this is a place where you can just chill and be as authentically you as you possibly can. Maybe I'm living in cuckoo land. Maybe that's not what it's there for at all. But let's go through a few things and see what you think. The way that I work through LinkedIn is I have separate strategies for the different content parts. So I have strategies for the content that I put out. Some of it is very well planned. In fact, I use the scheduling tool so that I don't have to take up too much of my life with LinkedIn. And I schedule things periodically, but I also allow myself a bit of time to just respond and put content out there that's generally applicable to the stuff that's coming to me on the feed. I'm not, I don't know, you could probably find stuff, evidence in my feed that would suggest otherwise, but I try not to put out content for the sake of content. I really am genuinely interested in people and what they're putting out on LinkedIn. I love hearing what everyone's up to. So these ones, for example, LinkedIn for marketing promoted, I won't lie, I tend to scroll straight through them. Not massively into adverts. What have we got here? We've got somebody liking stuff. I like it when it extends my network by showing me what you're all liking and what you're reposting and what's made you stop and interact with it. So what we got, when you work in sustainability and live in London, you're grateful to have a garden. Yes, very much so. And so they've been using pots. I love that. Love vegetables, love grow your own. Look at that. I'm going to like it. I do not in any way overthink should I or should I not be interacting with content. It's a personal choice for people. I get that. I don't overthink it. This person has landed on my feed. It's like, welcome, come on in, settle yourself. You are welcome in my space. And so I don't hesitate to like something or comment on something or, just act as though these people are in the room with me. Um, and I don't know if that's a common thing. I'd be really interested in hearing people's opinions on what they feel that they can and can't interact with online. But generally speaking, I don't tend to worry about it too much. I feel like I'm on my feed, you're here. I'm totally entitled to get involved and say hi. And I'm nice. I generally don't put anything negative out into the world. I ask awkward questions, definitely. It's a character flaw of mine. I say flaw, it's very useful sometimes. So I do get involved in conversations. Let's keep on going down. A lot of my industry contacts are on here, so in FM, and I'm always interested in what people are saying about industry news. So I always take a chance to have a look through. In facilities management operations, we wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor. Interesting. Well, this seems very related to digital well-being in my head. Yeah. So excellence in your current chaos just proves that you're completely indispensable exactly where you are. If your facility collapsed the moment you take a vacation, your boss cannot afford to promote you. Out of pure self-preservation, the system will keep you trapped right there with a wrench. That's interesting. It's strong. A few assumptions there, but I really like what Ken's saying about the position that we are in, the reactive mode in which we evidence our work with how busy we are. So yes, I think I'm gonna like that one. And I'll have a think about that. If I can contribute something to the conversation, I absolutely will. But if I don't have anything that I want to say, I'll just roll on until and come back to it if I have anything to say. But I think it's as we're going through, we've got some adverts there. Ah, yes, this brings me to a very, very important point. I think it's really important for LinkedIn in particular, bearing in mind that it's a business to business environment. Let's not get bogged down in the what belongs on LinkedIn and what belongs on Facebook type argument. We can do that, but let's do it in another session. I think it's really important to make sure that on your feed, you curate it so that you have some joyful things that come on in, things that make you smile, things that are very much personal to you. So I love National Trust. I've got National Trust, the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. I love that. South Downs, Sussex Bay. I've got all these lovely accounts that reflect nature and the outdoors, which is really important to me because I'm often stuck indoors. I know I'm doing my 30-day digital wellbeing walk challenge, so I'm trying to make changes, but just in a way to connect myself. I follow accounts like this and interact with them a lot so that I can encourage them back onto my feed. And look, they're brilliant because they know what they're doing. These are clever social media marketing people. When you're desperately trying to lay low in a meeting, relevant, love that. Nice little joke. I'm going to definitely give that a funny. Looking at the content that's come on through, the one thing that I would encourage you all is to say what you think. I don't know how many of you actually sit there and hover over the post button. Is that something that you're nervous about? And I get it completely because you're putting yourself out there. Let's stop sharing for a second. We'll come back to this. You're putting yourself out there, aren't you? And it creates a level of vulnerability that just makes you stop and wonder what the risk is. Your fight or flight instincts will kick in, and you're always going to assess whether or not you're going to put yourself in danger. I just mean psychologically there. So I completely get it if you're the kind of person who's just, I don't really know how to interact on social media. It doesn't feel like a safe space for me. And that's really interesting. So take that information because it's telling you about your values, and it's telling you what makes you nervous or what stressful situations you would try to mitigate it in your lives. Now let's think about all the positive stuff that can happen on LinkedIn. I want to take you through some of the best things that have ever happened to me on LinkedIn because they're a real part of my relationship to social media. So, for example, there's the time that I met Sadie Marshall. I am a member of the Federation of Small Businesses. I went off to a networking event there. Really good. Highly recommend them. And they're big networking events. There's quite a few people and they're all divided up into little squares on your screen. You get 5 minutes with each group and you introduce yourselves and it's fun. It's like speed dating, but for networking. So I had a great session with the FSB. And then after that session, there's this lovely little rush of, oh, it was lovely to meet you in that session. Shall we connect? And you get LinkedIn messages and people like your content because they've just discovered you. And it's really fun and very uplifting. And so I messaged Sadie and I said, oh, it was so lovely to meet you in this networking session. And I hope that we can connect and, let's continue this. And she didn't know who I was because I completely got the wrong person. I just literally just messaged a random on LinkedIn, as you do. But it was so much fun. It started a conversation and we are now bosom LinkedIn buddies. We've met in real life. We've been working together on different initiatives for well-being. In fact, we've got a session tomorrow as well where you can see exactly how Sadie takes me through a recovery and what's the nervous system? Yeah, the nervous system reset. That's what I mean. Anyway, she's the expert. She'll explain it tomorrow. So that was such a wonderful moment. And then we found out that we had loads in common, and that happens to me quite a lot. I was in an AI roundtable in Brighton at the technology conference Evolve 26, and had the absolute pleasure of having a conversation with Samantha Harwood, who it turns out we went to the same school. Who knew? And we had so much in common. And now again, we've worked together. We've done a session this week for Digital Wellbeing, and we connected up on LinkedIn afterwards. But it's really serendipitous how this works. Sometimes you can make great connections that you've never met in real life, and other times you meet people in real life, and LinkedIn is what allows you to continue that relationship. It allows you to have another way of being present in their world without being right in front of them, you know, up in their face. And that's what I really enjoy about the environment. But the one thing, oh, another one. Of course, Samantha Harmon, yesterday's session was fabulous. What a great conversation that was. And that completely happened by accident because I tagged Samantha Harmon in when I meant to tag Samantha Harwood in. Simple mistake. And she had the absolute spontaneity and confidence say, yeah, that's not me, but I'm ready and raring to go. And so she agreed to have an interview with me. And we had a fabulous conversation from that. And I'm looking forward to really engaging with her work and continuing that connection in real life, as we haven't yet met in real life. So there's so many wonderful things that happen. And I've got so many wonderful clients on LinkedIn. I've got some family on LinkedIn. I love seeing what they're doing professionally. So I do get a lot of joy from it. But let's take a moment to acknowledge the dark side. Where do we start? Where do we start? The thing about LinkedIn is that very quickly it puts a pressure on you to perform to what you think is the standard of communication on a platform like LinkedIn. And when that ceases to be fun, then it's not good for you. It's really difficult to go through LinkedIn if you are nervous about your own competency or your own achievements or the way in which you present yourself to your wider network. If you have any insecurities, it will take those, it will put them in a magnifying glass for you and show them right back at you. Like, it will absolutely amplify any insecurities that you have. So you've got to keep a really close eye on your emotional state and your state of well-being as you work with it. The other thing we find is, oh my goodness, there's some stuff that honestly, just because you can doesn't mean you should. There's content on there that is not bringing anything positive to the world. I'm talking about these pay for my course and you'll learn how to make £25,000 a week or whatever it is. Just this bragging culture. Some of it's humble bragging, some of it's not so humble. You know, this is how great I am, and the implication just being, well, you're doing it wrong. But that's okay. The great thing is you can clean out your algorithm. You can clean out your feed. So block, remove, say you're but I can't encourage you enough to get involved with things that represent your interests. Start having conversations and see what happens. Okay, so what I've gone to here, you'll find that up in the top right-hand corner, you've got your profile link, and I've just clicked on the down arrow there, and I'm going to go to posts and activities so I can see the history of what I've been doing. Now, I mean, I'm active on LinkedIn anyway, fairly active. I love it. And I try and keep on top of things. But I have been particularly active active this week as it's Digital Wellbeing Week, to the point that I know that LinkedIn is not really giving it the push that some people might want. Like, a lot of people are going for impressions, they want the engagement, they want the immediate analytical feedback that things are going well. I'm not too fussed about that. I'm much more interested in putting the content out there and then letting it settle and seeing who's interested. The Share 3 post for the session that we just did on M365 SharePoint lists, just wanted to tell everyone how much fun that was and how practical it was. Oh, and then this one, Jamie Willis Rose, who's a senior solution engineer at Microsoft. Again, he's never met me, but he posted something that has obvious interest to me because this is about the fact that Microsoft InfoPath, which is a product that I worked with a lot, it's part of my history, part of my life as a developer and programmer of Microsoft products. And so I had a complicated relationship with InfoPath for sure. So I just wrote, I did enjoy InfoPath. Well, not enjoy, but I did appreciate it. Well, not appreciate it, but I did work with it. Well, not work with it, but I did work in spite of it, because I just thought there's so many of us that had this complicated relationship with InfoPath that they might appreciate the nuance of working with it. It was like an in joke for my InfoPath people, and it's just a little comment that I made to show, yeah, I get that, great content. This is something that I can contribute to, even though it's in a fairly frivolous way. And then I've got a nice reply here from Brent that says, let's have a look. Funny, I think I'm the only one of I think I am the only one who kind of hates SharePoint, but not too many issues with InfoPath. I kind of liked it. So I said, yeah, takes all sorts to make a world, right? I like that you liked InfoPath. And these are the kinds of conversations that you end up having with strangers on LinkedIn that are really positive. You know, they're not impacting anyone negatively. The only way that this can really get out of hand if you feel you have to. It's if you feel like, oh, if I don't do this, I'm going to fall behind, or I need to I need to get on the right side of the algorithm and play it. And that's a losing battle. I mean, just forget all of that for a moment and see if somewhere like LinkedIn can just enhance your life, or just give you a bit of a playground to go and have some fun in and meet like-minded people. The algorithm itself, let me stop sharing again. The algorithm itself, I mean, it's really controversial at the moment. There's a lot of changes that have taken place that has meant that some of the people who get the most exposure on LinkedIn aren't getting that exposure anymore. I think the most important information from that is that in the recent algorithm updates, the importance of your follower count was very much degraded. So you could have 20 followers, or you could have 28,000 followers, and it doesn't actually impact as heavily now on who gets to see your content. And I think that's really upsetting for some people who have worked really, really hard to build their networks. But it also is easy to misunderstand, isn't it? Because if I have, I don't know, 1,000 followers, I would expect them to see my content. That's kind of the expectation. They have followed me, which means they enjoy my content. I would expect my content to be pushed to them, but that no longer happens. Instead, the algorithm is looking for real world connections between your content, their tastes, and their content and your tastes. It's like a mix of how everything relates together. And it's a really good example of how AI is now interpreting complex relationships and making decisions based on it as well. Anyway, there's so much I could tell you about LinkedIn. It's one of those worlds that I find fascinating, but I always keep an eye on. I keep an eye on my relationship to LinkedIn, because while I'm enjoying it, that suggests that the relationship is perhaps healthy and positive and within good management levels. And then if I ever feel worried that I've not done a post, or if I feel pressure because I see that somebody else is doing something, well, that's a completely different relationship with social media. So at that point, I notice it. I use the cognitive behavioral therapy technique of noticing what I'm thinking, noticing my emotional reaction to it, and then kind of thinking that's interesting. That's information. Okay, let's keep an eye on that and see how it goes. And it's really important for me to keep telling myself that this is just a place, it's just a room for me to go on in and say hi to everybody. It doesn't mean everyone's going to want me in that room. That's okay. But I'm certainly not, it's not for me. I'm not allowed in that room. It's a public space. It's social media. So I put myself out there and interact with people, and generally speaking it's a really positive environment. But I do think I think if I was to give advice, which I don't think I should necessarily, but just say that I'm gonna I think it would be, don't worry too much about your content. Have a load of fun interacting with other people's content. Make that your first step. It's by far the most enjoyable. And don't worry about the shouldn't I use AI. Like, find your space, find your place, and use your tools, and you'll find your way.